I absolutely sleep way better at night knowing that if I ever lose my Bitcoin or my money, it's because I messed up. I fell for some phishing scam or I did something, but it would be my own doing, versus let's say if I'd had my money on FTX and I wake up and it's gone.
I think it was around about, I think it was a year or two ago. I remember seeing an interview with the billionaire investor Mark Cuban, and Mark Cuban was talking about DeFi, and this was I think it was actually in 2021 where things were kind of really charging. We saw that DeFi summer, and things went crazy. And he actually was speaking something that I thought was really interesting, where he said that if he wants to borrow money from his bank, he's got to call and then he's got to fill out a bunch of paperwork and do all this other kind of stuff, But he was saying that if you've got the collateral, then he could jump on one of the DeFi platforms. I think at the time he mentioned Yearn or maybe one of the other ones, and said I've got the collateral there and I can immediately borrow 10,000, 20,000 USDT or whatever it is, and I think that's a super powerful thing that he said, because it kind of it does take away all of that. I guess you could say delay that we're kind of just used to in banks. I know here in Australia, you rock up to a bank and they don't open till 9:30. They're closing at 4 p.m. They're only open Monday to Friday. It's just ridiculous, right? If you want to get something or lodge an application, or goodness knows if you want to talk to someone at the bank, that's a whole nother thing, isn't it? So, but speaking about that, and I guess the convenience of it all, and having that ability literally at our fingertips now to do that 24/7, right? Anyone can do that if you've got the collateral to provide there. Do you think that DeFi or decentralized finance is a real threat to the current banking system? And I might have given you another reason why it is there, but why, in your opinion?
I think that the even bigger thing that you just kind of touched on isn't even necessarily the convenience, or it takes, you can do it 24/7, or you don't have to wait a day or two. I think the core bigger reason why DeFi will win eventually is that needing permission to use your money that you have to have with the bank. And I think that that's something that we've, as a society, just kind of semi accepted. But people, I think the more they become aware that there are other options where you don't have to, apply and explain what you want to do with the money. And, there's a withdrawal limit and a waiting period. And we have to have the manager sign on. And we have to get proof of this. And we have to do all of these things. I think that when people realize I don't have to necessarily ask your permission to use my own money. If I use these tools over here that are decentralized, I can absolutely do whatever I want, and I don't have to explain myself, and I can do it whenever I want. So back to that convenience of the time. But again, I think that permission, or that, again, sometimes there's literally limits and various things on your own money. And that to me is just absolutely crazy that we've accepted that as normal in our society due to the fractional reserve banking system and all of these problems that we have. I hope that more people realize that the fractional reserve banking system is starting to fracture, and that it's maybe not the best overall kind of holistic approach to how we manage and use our funds. And so, I think, again, I kind of come back to that. We're still a little bit in the Wild West. It's not that these tools are completely just ready for your everyday consumer to use it with the same ease that they would a bank. Because I also think that people, they like that safeguard of a customer service line. So even though we complain about, it's hard to talk to someone and you might have to wait on hold for a long time and it's this whole issue, I think that people like that there's someone on the other end that they could walk into a bank branch and ask questions. They could wait on hold for an hour and eventually get through to someone. Where when you take full custody and control of your own money, you don't have that. If you mess up, there's no customer service line to call and be like, can we reverse this or can we do that? And so I think that component of things is still a little bit scary, which for people, which I think opens the conversation of self-custody versus custodial services. And I do think there's a role for both, really for that reason that even though I'm a huge proponent of self-custody, I absolutely sleep way better at night knowing that if I ever lose my Bitcoin or my money, it's because I messed up. I fell for some phishing scam or I did something, but it would be my own doing, versus let's say if I'd had my money on FTX and I wake up and it's gone, right? And so I sleep better at night with knowing that I'm practicing self-custody, but I don't think that means that there won't be a role for custodial services in the future for those who it's too nerve-wracking for them to manage themselves. Hi, this is Lea Thompson at Girl Gone Crypto, and you're watching Think Smart Education.